Hello everyone, today we need to talk about the Immortal Empires map because it's getting too congested and it's going to get worse with time. There are about 104 legendary lords in the game right now, and it's only going to get worse by the time that the End Times DLC releases, with Beshiva and the End Times lords will get to around 110. While we don't know exactly where these legendary lords are going to go, especially as we don't know all of them just yet, an educated guess can easily place Nagash, and for other potential characters, it's easy enough to expect where they're going to go. Hell, if we get Boris Todbringer, I can imagine him in Middenheim, so yeah, again, the congestion in certain areas is becoming too much of an issue. Now, Creative Assembly did state that there's loads more plans for Warhammer 3 for years to come, which, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, because at this rate, you never know. If Creative Assembly did decide to treat this golden goose with the love and care that it actually deserves, there could be a lot more DLCs to come. Lots of character packs, some sub-races, and even just a decent amount of potential 1v1v1s, although I'd prefer them going back to the 1v1 format. But going over through the map, what you can see is that there are legendary lords everywhere. In pretty much any point that you've got a camera on, barring like the ocean where there's nothing there, there'll be at least a legendary lord or two. Many of them are very close to each other, and what's happening with the map, which I did notice on a comment on a video of mine a while back, is that certain geographical areas don't feel like their native races are allowed to actually thrive. There's not that many lizard men being pushed out through Lustria. Cathay has 2 legendary lords in Cathay, and then a bunch of others just swarming in. Hell, really the only actual geographical area that's going to be relatively lore-friendly at this point is, of course, the Northern Chaos Waste, and that's because, well, the Chaos Waste themselves are pretty inhospitable to most other races, barring a few outliers that are able to expand through there and actually benefit through it. Now, there's not much that can actually be done here because, well, the map is the map. They can't really increase the scale of the map, like, say, for example, making the Empire a little bit bigger and stuff, because, well, it's kind of locked in. It sucks a little bit, considering that, yeah, it could have been a little bit larger, but I guess they do have to go by the limitations, and also, not only that, but they have to make sure that it runs smoothly enough for lower-end hardware so they can actually generate a lot of sales. This has to be thought out well in advance, despite the launch of Warhammer 3 in general. Now, Creative Assembly have tried to combat this in pretty weak ways. There have been some map expansions, but even then they're either a new spot that will be there unused for a few patches or a minor faction over there, and then a lord gets placed in, or flat out introduced with a brand new lord. This is what happened originally, the former with Dekala the Denied One, and the latter with Sail the Faithless. The problem is, you're just adding in 2 areas that already have a lot of bloat. The 2 full provinces added in did not really do anything for the game. They are of course useful, I'm not gonna lie, because at the end of the day having new areas is fantastic, but just having in 4 new settlements or 3 new settlements or whatever gets added in doesn't really extend the map more. There are of course limitations that we'll never know of. Maybe something in management saying no, or maybe Games Workshop saying no, because those areas haven't been fully mapped out by them just yet, or whatever. So there are a lot of possible factors there. But let's take a deeper dive. You're starting off as Dekala the Denied One. The first thing that you're going to be doing is capturing that first region, and then you're going to be dealing with both Balthazar Gelt and Nakai if the player bias kicks in a bit sooner and he turns around to get you. It's kind of bad. Already you're fighting against 2 very powerful factions and you're mostly focusing with Marauders. Now that's still doable, I've really enjoyed my Dekala campaign, but it would have been nice to have a little bit down into Koresh just to actually have a little bit of breathing room, which would have also benefited the other factions there too. If you're playing as Balthazar, you're going to want to expand, if you're staying in Cathay of course, but not go against Zhao Ming, because that's your main ally for that area. If you're playing as Nakai, you're going to want as much going on so you can get those temples up and running. Sail the Faithless is when I kind of realized this a lot more. It's a DLC, the patch introduced the new regions, which was instantly for sale, and it was just a small plot of land, which meant that in most cases you're going to be fighting with the other Chaos factions. And I know some people are going to be in the comments going, well, that's what the Chaos factions do, they fight amongst themselves, and yes, I'd be inclined to agree there, but the main thing here is actually getting to be able to build up, especially with his shitty economy. Last thing you want to do is try and fight too quickly and having a campaign derailed. It's not just sucky for him, but it's sucky for, say, for example, Zatan and Village. All of them, they are basically a stone throw away from each other. It's too close to have legendary lords. We are slowly but surely missing on minor factions acting as a buffer zone for not only the legendary NPC factions, but the player to have as a way to progress through a campaign. In short, we need a map update that needs to be rather substantial in various different areas. Now, I don't expect that to happen anytime soon, especially as Creative Assembly are busy with the end time stuff. And the end time stuff is going to have loads of map changes, which, I mean, are they really needed? If it's going to follow the story of the end times, you know, Ulf 1 being destroyed and being uninhabitable, yeah, I mean, that's cool and all, don't get me wrong, even though the end time storyline is garbage, but I do feel strongly that the base experience for Warhammer 3 should be expanded upon, and it should be tied to the actual map itself. Legendary Lord hopping is becoming a massive issue, and it's going to get worse. There needs to be more minor factions on the field to allow for just a little bit of breathing room. That's going to be better for everyone. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd see the Northern and Southern Chaos Waste expanded a bit, Ind and Koresh opened up, and that should allow for a little bit more breathing room to, one, place other legendary lords in there. I'm not even saying put like Ind or Koresh as a race pack, but just a little bit out there just to get a little bit of breathing room. Because most people see it as this. The Immortal Empires map has around 560 settlements, if not a little bit more. The map itself has changed every time like a major DLC has come out, like for example the Chaos Dwarfs, and then obviously Tides of Torment. Well, those are the ones that really come to mind. It's something that really does help, but a lot of people see it as, oh, there's 104 legendary lords and 550 or 560 plus settlements, you won't see them that much. The problem is people look at it from settlement number, not by province number. A lot of those provinces are 4 or 3 settlements. So it's getting to the point that legendary lords are starting to take over a lot of the provinces. Creative Assembly need to think about a potential patch which just adds in a few areas where applicable. Expanding the Southern Chaos Waste, map expansions like that are entirely possible, as, well, we've seen it with Pharaoh. You know, we know that they have the technology for that. If they can do it for the 2.5 people playing Pharaoh still, compared to the, average of 28,000 since Tides of Torment released, then it surely would win a lot of favor with the Warhammer players and just in general the Total War players that are playing Warhammer 3. The idea here is expand it without the promise, like just literally say, look, we're not going to do those races, we're not going to do those factions, or it's not on our radar at the moment, probably the best way to say it, because you never know, that could actually change, but allow for the campaign map just to feel a lot better. I love this game, it's why I have over 4,000 hours into it, and I'm going to continue getting more, but I feel like something that needs to be done is something on the same line as the Immortal Empires Expanded Mod. I don't know if you guys have played it, most of you probably have at this point because it is very popular. It adds in around 174 new settlements, probably a little bit more actually, because it constantly gets updated, but what you will notice is that the Northern Chaos Wastes feel a lot better. The lands of Kosoon have been added in to be able to be playable. There's a lot of dead points in Immortal Empires Vanilla, which could be extra expanding breathing room. The Northern Chaos Waste looking as great as it does means that all the factions there get to benefit from it. The Chaos factions are incentivized to expand through the north, build up their forces and push their way down south, becoming a terror as they should be. And let's be honest here, with races like the Warriors of Chaos, you don't have a reason to go down south at all. In fact, it's mostly just pushing you to stay up in the northern parts of the map. Because the only way that you can realistically finish the campaign is by just getting the Dark Fortresses. So more Dark Fortresses is always good. It allows for more breathing room. Even just the areas of Kosoon makes it a little bit cooler, because that means that Lokia can then move out if you so wish. It depends on what you want to do. It allows you to start tailoring your own narrative, and I think that's really, really important. I don't think that they'll be able to do the full map like the Immortal Empires Expanded Mod. I do feel like there's limitations because even with recent releases for Warhammer the Old World, Nippon hasn't really been mentioned much, likely because it's going to have a new name, kind of like what happened to Warhammer Korea, which is now called Kosun. So maybe like there's limitations because of that. But going through the world, a few islands here and there, some expansion here and there does really help. Again, it does need to be at least looked at for the future of the game, because the congestion just basically being legendary lord hopping is kind of bad. It's obviously not going to solve every single problem, but it's going to help at actually mitigating a bunch of problems. There needs to be a patch to at least expand the map in various areas. Patches are going to be less frequent now, it's very obvious, but a dedicated patch there would be very useful in the effort of allowing breathing room for the players. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of discussion. I'll also link Immortal Empires Expanded in the description below, just in case you want to check it out, if you haven't yet, but I feel like a lot of people have, because goddamn, it's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. I struggle sometimes to play vanilla. I really like Immortal Empires Expanded, even if I'm not around that area, because it allows just natural expansion growth for the empires and stuff. But have a good day, everyone, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.